All right, welcome to the Draftaholics, where we draft any and everything. On tonight's episode, we are covering the biggest draft that there is in sports. We are going to make our picks for the NFL draft.
Woo.
That's what we're doing tonight. And I know these guys are pumped. These guys are very excited. We're all excited to get this thing rolling and try to act like we're experts in this. And we'll probably get more right than the experts will. Honestly,
That's usually how it turns out. Fantasy football, NFL drafts, when you don't know anything, you just like make blind picks, you end up having the best teams.
You do. Yeah. Yep. People who like make picks like, I like that team color, or I like, they're usually the ones.
I like their
Great
uniforms.
mascot. Yeah.
Great mascot. Love the mascot. Yeah. All right. So I'm Doug here as always with Mike, Tommy, and Andy. I wanted
Douglas.
What's up, guys? I do want to talk about good wave. He's so I want to say, Andy, this is the most excited I've ever seen him for an episode. He is giddy right now. The man is
Well,
giddy.
Granted, he's never been excited for an eepisode. So even an ounce of excitement.
So the
most excited we've ever seen for an episode. So
Yeah. Doesn't take much. But that being said, you guys all three of you, I think Tommy as well. But Mike, I know you guys, you have like a get together every year for the NFL draft. You guys really nerd out and tell us what you do.
Yeah, I think Andy does something similar with his friends. Tom, I'm not sure if you do or not, but this is going on for, I don't know, 25 years. And I don't think I'm exaggerating with that. Me and some of my friends, Joe, RIP, we'll see. Andy, I'll let you spare the details later on, but he was one of the ones that did it with us every year. We get together and we just put together a big board and we just see who can get the most right? And whoever gets, it's usually like 10, 11, right, is the number to beat. It's nothing big. We do it for like 10, $20, but it's get together in the first round. We just mock it together. That's all.
Yeah, and you guys have a blast with it. I went one year. It was too much for me. It was too much for me to handle. I never came back.
We get pretty intense. Pretty intense with it.
Definitely do. Also, McShane lives so far away. McShane's like an hour away from me.
Yeah, it's pretty far away from me now too.
Yes.
So, but
all right,
I can't back out.
R.I.P. Joe.
Yep.
Not sure what happened. But...
He read a report that the Steelers gave up 3 years worth of draft capital to trade up for Shedeur Sanders, and his heart exploded. So he's gone again.
Oh.
Yeah. They say heartbreak is a real way to die.
It's a real thing, huh?
It
It's a
is.
real thing.
It is.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready to get this thing going. You guys ready to get this thing going? Mike, do you want to tell us kind of the details a little more, or is it pretty straightforward?
Yeah. So let me plug the socials quick, then I'll go into the details.
Yeah.
We are on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Every week we come out with a new episode for Spotify and YouTube. On Instagram, we do a 32 seed bracket where you get to pick who moves on each pick to the next round, determine one winner every week. So go follow on all social medias. But the way we're doing this is we spun a wheel, and we're each in being GM of 8 teams. So I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'll look quick. Tom, you're the Easts, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here. I am the Souths. Doug, you are the Norths. And Andy, you are the Wests, right?
Correct.
So you're the GM. This is kind of what we would do, but in a realistic-ish manner. So we tried keeping it semi-realistic, but also what we would do as the GM.
Right. That worked out well because I think this is the first draft in like 30 or 40 years where all 32 teams, or maybe not that long, but all 32 teams had their first round pick. So everybody got an equal share here.
That is wild.
For now.
I was noticing that. For now, yeah. So those trades up and whatever. Yeah.
Tommy trade machine down there, dude.
That's right.
He is Tommy Trader. That man was a trade machine in this.
It's just fun.
It is good times.
All right. I'm just going to kind of, we didn't really discuss beforehand, but I think I should just kind of go through, say who was picked, and then whoever picked that guy, you guys discuss and kind of talk on it. Is that good?
Sure.
However
Whatever you guys want to
handle
do,
it.
yeah. I'm out of there.
All right. So the first pick of the draft was not a surprise. First pick is kind of the consensus first pick that's going around right now. That's what everybody's saying. And the first pick in the draft, Mike, you made it, correct?
That is,
And it was Cameron Ward. So go ahead and talk on that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to spend too much time on Cam Ward. If you're watching this, then you're into the NFL draft, right? So every single mock draft that you've seen, every expert, I think they've come out at this point and basically said they're drafting Cam Ward. So we're not going to spend too much time here. It's the move I had to make as the Titans GM. They need a quarterback, probably more than any other team besides the Giants, right? In this draft. And Cam is a great start to building your franchise. He's got some work to do. I think they're saying he was probably like if he was in last year's draft class, he'd be around the JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, around there, Michael Penix. But look what happened with Bo Nix, right? And he turned out pretty okay in his rookie year. So hopefully they get another diamond in the rough here. Not that he's really in the rough, but hopefully they get a starter and a star in Cam Ward.
Yeah, quarterbacks, they always move their way up to the beginning of the draft because it's the worst teams and it's the most important position, so they always need them. Yeah, that's probably the least interesting pick that we made in this entire thing. Other than that, it went pretty wild, I
It
think.
goes off the
So
fucking rails
it
right
does.
now.
It does right
Pretty
now.
quickly.
So
Yeah.
so at pick two, yeah, let's get into it. At pick two, Tommy came to me with a trade proposal. Tommy has the Patriots. I had the Browns. Tommy wanted to move up a little bit. So he moved up from spot 4 to spot 2. And he gave the Browns the first and second of next year as well with that pick, with the trade. And with that second pick, the Patriots picked Travis Hunter. Go ahead, Tommy.
Tom,
Tell
why
us.
explain why you made that trade?
Listen, Travis Hunter is the only individual on this draft board that plays multiple positions. So you can put this guy in offense or defense. So he's worth 2 first-round picks, in my opinion. I got a little bit of stats. I know we've heard it in nauseum about him, but Mike Vrabel, as a new head coach, he's or not a second-time head coach, right? New to the Patriots. He's going to use his first draft pick for defense, just like he did when he was with Tennessee. The only difference is now he can get a guy that can play some offense because I have their needs as tackle, wide receiver, edge, guard, and cornerback. Well, golly gee, Travis Hunter checks off 2 of those bad boys, doesn't he? I'm sure he does. He's got explosiveness, but to me, his NFL comparisons are Jari Alexander and Devontae Smith flashes. And if you can move up with 2 picks to get him, you'd be a fool not to.
I think
How many realistically, how many snaps do you think he can play? We're saying both sides of the ball. Let's say there's 110, 120 snaps per game. How many snaps can he actually play?
So let me take off my GM hat and put on a head coach hat right now. First thing I'm seeing in camp is which side is he better in at the NFL level, right? And with this gives us an opportunity to see double. I would say as a rookie, maybe he's playing 30% to start this season and then moves up by the end of the season. If he's more dominant on the defensive side of the ball, maybe he focuses there and plays all defense. But if he's a mismatch against the New York Jets on offense in the slot, maybe put him there that week. Week to week, you can game plan and use his talents specifically to that game. So I can't tell you exactly, but
I think he's come out and say that he's playing both sides of the ball, and if you're not going to have him play both sides of the ball, don't draft me because he will not play in the NFL if he's not playing both sides.
He said he
That's what
doesn't
he
want to play
says.
football. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, things will change if he ends up that he's way better at one position than the other. But I think Mike Vrabel, not that I think the Browns would ever make this trade, but if there's a coach that would allow him just to go play both sides of the ball, Mike Vrabel is one of the coaches that would do it. I think Dan Campbell will be another one. Just go play football. They're football guys. We talked
right.
about
Yeah.
pre-analytic sports. Vrabel and Dan Campbell are old school coaches that would just say, "Go ball, man. Whatever you're better at."
It was gimmicky, but Vrabel used to do it all the time. I want to say he's got like 10 touchdown catches
Yeah,
in his
10
career doing
receptions,
it.
10 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it was gimmicky at the goal line, but he did it. Did it 10 times. So
So he gets it.
he gets it for sure. It's funny because I'm the Patriots fan, right? I think that's exciting. I want them to get Travis Hunter. As a fan, that would be exciting. I don't think that the Patriots would do that because I think they'd be giving up too much for it. Not to mention they don't need corner. They're pretty stacked at corner now because they went and got that Lions They went and traded for the Lions corner this offseason.
The one that was a free undrafted free agent that barely made the team and then had one good year. Okay. No, that's cool.
Is he? I don't know. Honestly, everybody said that he was one of the highest free agents prospects. I mean, top 10. I think I could be wrong,
No, we'll
but
see how it pans out. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
just think with someone
Yeah.
who's as good on both sides of the
What was he
ball,
undrafted? Because the GM for the
he's either
Patriots said,
undrafted or late draft
yeah,
pick.
because the GM for the Patriots said that when he was on, I don't remember what team it was, but when he was on another team, he was like, I wanted him, and we didn't draft him. So again, I don't know. I just, from what I'm hearing from the experts, they're good at corner. I
Oh,
don't know
Christian
what Travis
Gonzalez is
Hunter's
a
better
freak.
at.
So
And Christian
let's,
Gonzalez is a
Right.
he's a
freak.
freak. That's a fact.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that's not a need for them. And there's a lot of needs on that team. Wide receiver might be the biggest.
I got Carlton Davis, is who we're
Carlton
talking about,
Davis.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
He was the 63rd overall pick in 2018.
There you go. That's a
Oh,
steal
then
right
I'm
there.
thinking of somebody totally
yeah,
different.
Yeah. Or that's the first, second round pick, end of the second round. And he's had a hell of a career in Detroit. Like he was a really good player. They wanted to keep him. I think he was the number one corner there, I believe. But anyways, so I don't think they need that at all, which is why I don't think they would give up a first and a second next year for it. Mike's smiling. Mike, you got to say something. Go ahead.
No, I just hope that you guys can't hear background noise because
Oh yeah, yeah. No, not really.
I got a lot going on right now. That's all.
No.
That's it. Mike's nervous smile is going on. That's
Yeah.
what that is. It was making me uncomfortable looking at that.
Sorry.
My bottom left hand corner. Anyways, I want them to get him. I just don't think that they'll do that particular move to get him because I don't think they're that needy on the other side of the ball. But they're definitely needy at wide receiver.
Right.
He's the most curious prospect out there, though, right? Like of everyone, is he not? Andy, you got
I
something else?
honestly, in my humble opinion, I don't know how well he's going to translate because of his size.
Yeah, he's not huge, right?
Right. And like you look, Tariq Hill's way faster.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
a
not the
different kind of
same.
player. Yeah, you can't
Right.
compare anyone to him on or off the field. Had to
There
get
it
that in
is.
there. Had to get it in there.
He couldn't go without
Couldn't help
saying
it.
it.
Couldn't help it. All right, we'll move on from Travis Hunter. We gotta get this thing rolling. So
Oh, yeah,
pick
we're-
3. We spent a lot of time on him. So pick
We're
3.
going slow here.
We are. We're gonna pick it up. Pick 3, the Giants, and they went with Will Campbell. So that's you again, Tommy. Tell us why.
Yeah. Mike was kind of crazy to talk about nobody needs a quarterback more than the New York Giants. Have you heard of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Okay. They definitely need it. We've got Russell Wilson and my motivating fan, Jameis Winston, who I freaking love.
Oh, yeah.
Jameis Winston. He's hilarious.
Giants
But
might
we
not
went with
draft
Will
a QB.
Campbell, man. Yeah, we went with Will Campbell because when it comes to this actual GM's job, he needs to save his job. And it doesn't matter who's throwing the rock, if you can't stand up to do it, right? So they need to anchor one side of the offensive line. So that way, I mean, if even Evan Neal continues to struggle, Campbell can go inside, play guard. His physical identity, Brian Dable wants tougher, more consistent offensive front. Campbell fits that mindset. No 9 cents, just solid physical play. NFL comparison, I got him kind of like a Taylor Decker, but with just a little bit more of a mean streak to him.
All right.
And shorter arms.
Yeah. Are you
I
worried
mean, that's
about
what
the arm,
everybody
Mike?
say. No, because my man is still 6'6", and when he gets one hand on you right away, doesn't matter how long his arms are, you're not getting out of that.
Yeah. And my thing is, they're not blocking like this, right?
Right,
They're
exactly.
not blocking with their arms.
He's getting
really
that
wide.
punch right here.
Yeah,
You're not getting
you need
outside of
reach
that.
though.
You do need
Dude,
reach. You do need reach.
The ends are getting faster and faster, more explosive. If you're a big dude, but you can't reach them going around you, it means nothing. Not saying that's gonna be Will Campbell, but his arms can be an issue. Not just him, anybody, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if he turns out to be a tackle or a guard. But hopefully with the third pick, that's a tackle.
Yeah, I think it kind of has to be, right? You can't pick a guard that.
At least to
that
start.
early.
You have to try him there,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. All right, we'll move on. So with the 4th pick, in the trade that the Browns made with the Patriots, the Browns select Abdul Carter, which I think a lot of people think he's the most talented player in the draft, right? There's 2 blue chip guys, whatever that means. and it's Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. And I think for the Browns to snag him there and line him up with Myles Garrett, that's a scary line right there coming at you, coming at the quarterback. So it wasn't necessarily a need for the Browns, I don't think. They have a lot of them, which is why I like the trade that we made because next year they can kind of address those other needs in the first and second round. But this coming season, if they had Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett, uh, quarterbacks will be scared for
And
sure.
Doug, that's why I hated this trade for
Well,
the
you didn't think
Browns
that
is
Abdul
because
Carter was going to get that
yeah,
deal.
exactly. You have this opportunity at pick 2 to get Abdul Carter and line him up with Myles Garrett, and that's just like probably one of the greatest DN combos of all time in a couple of years. And you trade it away, and and that I hate that it worked out for you because
Yeah.
now you're like, yeah, look at this trade I made.
Well, it wasn't a
Uh,
need for them though. That's not it. That if you look at their needs, that's not even in the top five of their needs. So that's why I was like,
but
okay,
yeah,
if I miss
you
out on
always
them, that's
need
fine
the best prospect in the draft. That's
for
always a
sure,
need.
for sure. All right, pick five, and
Oh, it's me.
it is you, Mike. Is it? We haven't even gotten Andy yet. Andy, where are you?
We're good. We're good.
Next.
This is great.
Pick five. Jaguars selected Mason Graham, DT out of Michigan.
I didn't want to make this pick one bit. I tried so hard to trade out of this position because I think the Jaguars, it's such a just everybody draft mocks this, right? Mason Graham to the Jaguars, Mason Graham to the Jaguars. If you're not mocking Mason Graham, maybe you see an Ashton Genty in there every once in a while, but it's always Mason Graham. And it's such a boring pick because I've already picked Cam Ward and now I picked Mason Graham. I'm just having a boring draft so far. So I wanted to trade back, but you assholes wouldn't trade up with me. So I had no choice. I mean, he is an unbelievable talent coming out of Michigan. He just does everything well and he's explosive. So he's a little undersized, but I think we're seeing in the NFL that you can be undersized at a D tackle now.
Yeah, they're kind of going that way now, right? Who is that player that the Patriots traded for from the Eagles, the DT?
Milton Williams.
Yeah, Milton Williams. He's undersized, but
Hmm.
an explosive player. So, all right. Anyone have anything to say about Mason
No,
Graham?
I think that the Jags, I think that's a real life problem too. And that I think in this area, there's a lot of teams that are trying to move back because as we've said when we were doing these mocks, right? Once you get through the
It's the same.
two, three prospects that you really like, everybody's kind of the same. So, if you're one of
Yeah,
these teams that has a lot of holes, you're trying to get a little bit more capital,
yeah,
this draft, next draft. And I don't think there's a lot of people willing to move up.
yep.
What was
Agree.
the who had the quote, Andy? Was it you that had the quote, or was it Doug that had the quote that uh
Andy
there's
had it.
not a lot of stars, but there's a lot of starters,
Yeah,
right?
it's the Daniel Jeremiah quote. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really liked.
I thought it was you that said it, Andy. I was giving you all
No,
the credit.
no, no.
All right. Pick six, and that's the Raiders.
That is the Raiders.
They went with Ashton Genty, running back, Boise State.
Right.
Talk about it.
Um, I mean, we just talked about you take best player available, right? If you get an elite talent, you take them. If it happens to be an elite talent and a need, it just makes too much sense. Yeah, not to do it
Yeah.
or whatever I'm trying to say here. You know what I'm trying to say. The Raiders will probably fuck this up, but Ashton Genty he's short of Bijan. He's the best running back prospect, and I don't know how many years, 4 or 5 years.
Saquon.
Since Barkley or something. Yeah.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
since Saquon. But unlike the two of them, like when you watch Saquon and Bijan run, they have these like explosive, like juke moves, right? They're just incredible to watch when they break a defender's ankles, and they're very dramatic, very explosive runners. Genty to me is more like very smooth. He's very fluid. He's got the little hip movements, little shoulder movements that make people miss, and he just kind of shrugs them off. If you try to tackle him up top, you're not bringing him down. He's got great contact balance. He's going to blow right through you. To me, I'm looking through player comps. I saw a lot of Daniel Tomlinson comps. I thought that was a little much. I think LT was a little bit more explosive in that Bijan Saquon. To me, he's a bigger Ray Rice, right? Ray Rice ran low 4.4s. I think that's where Genty would have run if he ran. Um, Ray Rice, I think he was 5'8", fucking like 200 pounds. I think Genty's,
He's
5'10",
5'10", I think. Yeah.
220 or something like that. And he's just got great contact balance. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, but he's not LT. I think I wrote down Ray Rice's stats. In his best year, he had 2,000 yards from scrimmage, 15 touchdowns, and 100 targets. Like I can see Genty having something similar to that, a couple times in his career. There's nothing he does poorly, I guess, pass block, but all the star running backs coming out of college,
Yeah.
sort of Judkins or Henderson, one of them from Ohio State is an absolute monster blocking. But short of one of them,
Yeah,
everybody
Henderson.
struggles with pass block coming out because why would you pass block when you're the best player on the team? You know what I mean?
So that being said, do you feel like at the sixth overall pick, Ray Rice would be a good pick there, knowing his
So I'm
career?
not saying I think he could be better than I think he's Ray
Okay.
Rice's best season consistently. Maybe not,
And
2,000 yards consistently, but
I
that
think people,
1,800.
yeah, because I'm playing devil's advocate here, but because I think people go too hard at the running backs, like, well, how many like great running backs have won Super Bowls? I think you can go down every single position and say that about every single position. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like you can nitpick everywhere you want to nitpick.
that and
Uh,
you got Pete Carroll, your head coach, right?
yeah,
So when he's successful at USC, he's got Reggie Bush, Lindale White, right? Legendary. He goes to the Seattle. He's got Marshawn, legendary. You know he likes to run the ball. He's a run first guy. They bring in Chip Kelly as OC. He's got that, whatever kind of offense he runs. I always forget what it's called, but it's like a vertical run game. He likes to run off tackle. It's more of a schemy thing. They want to run the ball. They're
I
starting
right.
think
Raheem Mostert right now. It's the Sarah McCormick. Like you have a chance to hit a star that can do everything you need. Feels like a pretty safe pick.
Okay.
the most important part, I think, for the Raiders picking Genty is Geno Smith isn't good without a run game. He's
Right.
not going to beat you out of the pocket, right? He
Is he
needs
good with a run game?
Yeah,
He's
We
yeah,
know
great
that.
with play action.
exactly what I was going to say. He needs play action to work
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
good,
he does.
right? And when you have Ashton Genty in the backfield, play action is going to work. So I
Right.
think
That's
it's
true.
more
It's going to be a
important.
real threat, right?
Yeah, that's a good
Exactly. Yeah,
point.
it's more
yeah.
important for Geno.
And my thing too, and we're probably spending too long, and I'll get to the seventh pick right after this. It's talent, right? Like you're saying, like you're drafting the talent there. How many swing and misses have there been over the years at pick six? There's been a lot of them, I'm sure, right?
You're
So
not swinging and missing with
you're not
Genty.
swinging and missing with him, I don't think. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The
That's what I'm
only
trying
the
to say.
only knock against taking a running back here, I think, is probably like this running back class is supposed to be like the best since
There's so
2017.
many,
Yeah,
right?
So it's
Yeah.
okay.
like, do you spend pick six when maybe you can get Judkins,
Value in like
Hampton,
third or fourth.
somebody,
Yeah,
in the second, third, yeah.
gotcha. All right, pick seven here, and it's the Jets.
Ooh.
So it's back to Tommy, and
Yes, sir.
they went Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn
Yeah.
State. Tell us
To me,
about it.
that's a no-brainer. I know a lot of people want to go tackle here, but when you have Wilson on the outside getting double teamed every day, now you got somebody that you can line up in the slot in the red zone, take some pressure off him. As someone who's watched Justin Fields play football a lot, that dude can actually get himself out of a situation. And as you're in the red zone, a 6'6", 255-pound target, you're going to be great for a guy like that who can just dump that ball. Former high school quarterback, turned tight ends, got great IQ, can line up in the slot, motions across. His blocking ability is one of his strengths people don't talk about too much because he can both do it as a tight end on the line of scrimmage and out wide. Plus, in space, he's not going to maul you. He's not going to just blow you off the ball, but he's going to use his leverage. He's smart, knows how to do it. Like I said, in the red zone is where I anticipate him getting most of his stuff. Don't expect him to be Brock Bowers. I think Loveland would be more like Brock Bowers, but this guy's going to be a great red zone target.
Yeah.
That's another one where it's early for that position typically, but a lot of people say he might be the safest pick in the draft.
Best available, man.
Yeah.
I think
And
he
and
is.
NFL,
He's it.
it's go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying he's the best available.
NFL is a copycat league, and when you see what Brock Bowers just did at pick 12, the Raiders got him at last year when everybody was saying how good he was, right? And then he dropped to 12, and he was better than advertised.
Just as good, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like,
you
all
know what
right, well, we're
happened
not
there.
going to make that same mistake again.
I think we all know what happened there. Your boy scared people off. Kyle Pitts. He scared people
Probably.
off. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then now this might be an overreach because of how good Brock Bowers did last year. We don't
Well, I
know.
mean, I think there's a difference between Bowers and Pitts. Pitts was like a combine freak, looks good in shorts. Brock Bowers is the greatest tight end in the history of college football. Like,
Okay.
I think what happened is he took that picture with Gronk and he looked like a little child with a receding hairline. Everybody's like, fucking, this dude's not going top 10. Get out of here. And now they all regret it.
Yep.
All right, let's move on here to pick 8. And I'm not going to say his whole name. It's Tet McMillan, Wide receiver, Arizona.
Yeah, so this is the Panthers on the clock. I don't think you mentioned
Oh, I
that,
didn't
but
know Panthers.
uh, my reason why I went Tat, and I'll explain in a little bit, because a lot of people are saying defense for the Panthers here. They're saying Jalen Walker is the consensus mock here, but my reasoning for going Tat is the Panthers defense is god awful, right? They were 32nd, I think, against the run and 31st against the pass, if I'm not mistaken. And there's, am I wrong, Tom?
No,
Correct
I'm
me if I'm
just
wrong.
your argument for not picking defense and then
Yeah,
telling us
listen,
how bad
listen,
their defense
listen. Yeah,
has just
yeah,
had me
listen.
pondering. That's all.
All right. Listen to my whole argument.
I'm
So
listening.
one player is not going to fix that defense. All right. Jalen Walker is a prospect, but no one knows where he's going to play. I don't think a defense that's already in shambles is the right pick for somebody that way. We don't even know what position he should play. Where when you look at the offense of the Panthers, they're probably one piece away from being a good offense in the NFL. They have they have a good running back. They have, who knows if Bryce is a good quarterback or not. They have the O line. They need that receiver, and Ted's so smooth. And my final point is that Bryce is going to be coming off his rookie contract soon. You need to find out if you're going to pay him and how much you're going to pay him, and
Give him
give
talent.
him a
Yeah.
stud wide receiver to let him prove himself, right? So I think Ted's the play here to find out if you have your guy in Bryce or not.
I think if you're gonna go wide receiver, which is a great idea, because you're right, you're spot on. Like, let's do like they did in Chicago with Justin Fields. Give him DJ Moore, give him a good receiver and see what he's really worth. But I don't think the kid from Arizona is the best receiver in this
Oh,
draft.
I was
yes,
going
he
to
is.
ask you guys that.
Yes, he is. He's
I
not the
think
fastest, but he's smooth. That dude's
he's
smooth.
got that like great stretch, but when you put the ball in Luther Burden's hand, that dude is explosive. That dude makes plays happen. That dude could have went anywhere and chose Missouri. So I personally think wide receiver, not a bad pick. Pick at wide receiver, not bad. Just I don't think he's the best in this draft.
Yeah, I think you're
Personally.
undervaluing
Do you
Tat.
have Luther Burden as your number one wide receiver? Is that what you're saying, Tom?
I have Golden and Bird in 1 and 1A.
Well, what about Travis? Is he more of a corner and then maybe
I think so, yeah. I don't
yeah.
think he's the number one
It's
receiver
funny.
or
You
the
hear
number
both
one
sides of that.
cornerback.
I mean,
Yeah, you
obviously,
do.
you hear both sides because that's what he
You
does.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like anyone's consensus with that is if he's a wide receiver or corner. All right. Pick 9, and it's the Saints, and they went Shador Sanders, QB Colorado. Talk about it.
Yeah, I thought about trading up to 5 with the Jags here to make this same pick, but then first of all, I didn't want to trade with myself because it's a biased, trade and everyone will give me shit about it. But second, I knew Andy was going Ashton Genty with the Raiders. And I was like, I don't think I have to. And in real life, if Sanders falls to 9, I don't see how the Saints don't take him. He's the
They're
most NFL ready quarterback, right? And they don't have, I mean, Derek Carr is going to be out. Are you really relying on Spencer Rattler for your quarterback when Shador Sanders can just come in there and be, it's the New Orleans Saints, right? His comp is Drew Brees. So be the Drew Brees for the Saints again. Why would you pass up on that?
Yeah. He's an older, right? He's 23, I think, already, right? Did 4
Yeah,
years.
most quarterbacks are a little older though, and if they're not, then they're not ready for prime time.
Week
Excuse the
one,
pun
he'll be
there.
23 on week 1.
Yeah.
I it's misinformation season, but the Saints have been pretty consistent in their not drafting Shador.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah,
know that. Okay.
they're more of a Jackson Dart team for what I hear, and they're more targeting that pick 40 that maybe move up a smidge and get them.
But if you're the Saints, right, and you know the Steelers might trade up, of course you're going to give misinformation. Be like, "Don't worry, Shador's going to be there for you at 21. No need to trade above us." Like that's just how the NFL draft
It
works.
is. Well, like you said, it is misinformation season
It's a
for sure.
lot to give up to move up. I don't know. I just don't think. I don't know. Maybe.
I like the pick, Mike. I think it's going to be great because you talk about what Sanders's strength was completion percentage.
He's a plug and
when
start right away.
if I have a freaking back like Alvin Kamara who can just run a couple, just arrows for me, bubble screens, halfback outs, tight
It's
end
good
options
safety.
coming
Yeah.
in too. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what he does well, and that's what they need as a running back. So I don't think it's a bad pick at all.
As a
I think
Patriots fan,
that
I hope
fits
he
their
goes in the top
strengths.
3. but I don't see that happening. Um, but I tend to agree with you, Mike. I don't think he's going to get by 9 if he's there. All right, 10th pick. The Bears select
Ooh.
Jalen Walker, linebacker at Georgia. And again, I've been very open about this, guys. I don't dive down deep into everything with drafts, so you guys have to help me out a little bit. Tommy, this is your team, the Bears. He seems like he's a high prospect around here in New England. I've heard that even the Patriots like him a lot. So I don't know if he's going to go that high, but for him to drop to 10, you guys had a needed edge. I was like, okay, that's a good pick for them.
I absolutely love it. We need an edge rusher outside of Montez Sweat. Um, I know a lot of people want to go offensive tackle here for the Bears, and that wouldn't be a bad pick. But if we're going to go edge, I would honestly take Jalen Walker over Carter any day, just because of the injuries. It's nothing disrespectful. Like, congratulations, let's see what you can do. But when you got a guy who does one thing, and that's line up outside like Carter does and rush, versus Walker lines up inside, lines up outside. I hope they stick him to being an outside guy and just getting off the edge. But they say he's the alpha of alphas when it comes. And you get that dude in the room too. Like he is like just a freak. And so I think it's a great pick. If they don't go with edge, I'd like to see him go offensive tackle.
Okay.
Tom,
Anyone
I
have anything to
was
say about that? Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, I was just shocked. Right, it took me so long to process that you just said Jalen Walker is better in your mind than Abdul Carter. When you said
Yes.
Carter, I was like, who else is in this draft named Carter? Because there's no way he's talking about Abdul. But then I realized that you actually think Jalen Walker is a better prospect than Abdul Carter.
I saw when it
That's
happened, Mike, too. You like shook your head. You're like,
Yeah. When I realized it, and when you rewatch this,
yeah,
that was like 15 seconds after he said that. That's how long it took me to process that.
yeah. I
Yeah,
saw it.
no, it's just
Wheels
just
are
my
turning.
personal opinion. It's one of those things where I've been doing but nothing but watching a bunch of film, right? And I just like what I see from him a little bit better.
Also, if he lands on his team, he's gonna be a little
Oh
biased.
yeah.
Little biased. All right, let's go to pick 11, San Francisco. They went Armand Membu, OT, Missouri. Is he left tackle? Are they
Nah,
saying
he's a
he's left
right.
tackle? He's
He's
right.
a right tackle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is fine because San Fran has Trent Williams. And if you're good enough at right tackle and Trent Williams retires, maybe you slide over to left and we see what you got over there next year or in 2 years, whenever Trent's done.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, they got a lot of needs. You guys just left the best prospect out there to be a tackle, and that's what they need. It's a plug and play. Shanahan running his dad's his little fucking scheme zone block there, and
Mm.
you need people that can move. And Membu's athletic. He's a little undersized. I think he's 6'4" or something, 330, which is like one of those monster left tackles, which is why he projects to be a right. But he can move. You can pull him. Lead the way from McCaffrey. You got the bookends sewed up there with him and Trent. It's just you're starting Colton McKivitz or something right now, who's fine, but you got to get better. You got a lot of holes. The salary cap finally caught up with the Niners, and they've had a
Yeah.
lot of
They had
pieces
a
to
fire sale this
let go.
offseason. Yeah.
So you just got to start taking best player available, and it just so happens to be a position that they could kind of use. It's not a definitive need, but it's a position they need.
How's his arm length? Good.
I think they're all short. I think
Um,
that's the whole thing with him,
Really?
Yeah.
No
Banks, and
kidding.
Campbell. They're all a little bit short,
Okay.
which I don't know. But he's a right. He's not a left. You're not protecting the blind side, so
Maybe,
it's all
maybe
right.
just as like human beings, we're evolving that way. We're getting shorter arms for some reason.
Could
We don't
be,
need long
could
arms
be.
anymore.
33 and a half. 33 and a half. Will Campbell's 32 and 5/8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they say 34 is ideal, so he's not too far off ideal.
All right. Let's go to pick 12 here. We got the Cowboys on the clock. And they went Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan. So, Tommy, back to you.
Yeah, listen, I know they got a bunch more needs. They need running back, edge, guard, and wide receiver to go along CD. But knowing Jerry Jones, he likes to take the best available. And I personally think that Will Johnson is the best corner. Okay, I know I talked about Travis Hunter being a good corner, but Will Johnson to me is the best corner in this draft. 6'2", long arm, strong build. modern NFL quarter. I know my boy Mike loves his Sauce Gardner. He's got Sauce Gardner size. He's patient, instinctive, smooth with the length to erase wide receivers one. Right? He's got a high floor, high ceiling. He brings size, intelligence, toughness to a defense that already has playmakers. He gave Dallas arguably the best cornerback trio in NFL, without a doubt. You can line him up slot, nickel, whatever
Wow.
you need.
All right.
I like
No,
it because
Love.
the Mike Zimmer defense is usually a zone heavy defense, and Will Johnson is a very good corner, but he does not run the 40 well. He's not really a blazer. So if you can let him sit in the zone, he can kind of play those like the hook unders and keep his eye on the quarterback, or just be a
Excellent
little bit
route
more aware.
anticipation.
Yeah.
He'll be able to make plays for you. Yeah, I think he's been like the number one ranked corner for 2 years or maybe
Right.
since he was a freshman. Like he's got skill. He'll be fine. If he ran a 4.2 or a 4.3, he'd be going top 3 or 4 overall.
Right.
Well, if you want a 4.2, that'd be
At
impressive.
that size? Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I don't know. And this is me. I don't really have time to watch college football throughout the year, so I do all my research the month before the NFL draft. So this is just like out of nowhere, kind of. But I think from what I've seen, I like Barron more than I like Will Campbell. And I know there's people out there that also say that. I mean Will Johnson. I said Campbell. Who's Will Campbell?
The
that's
tackle.
the tackle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tackle that was already drafted at pick 3. All right, yeah,
LSU,
yeah.
pick
Yeah.
3.
I like Barron's game more, and I think he's more of an all around. He can play man, he can play zone, he's faster. Where Johnson, it's more of a scheme. He has to fit the right scheme to be a superstar.
All right. I have nothing
Respect
to
him.
input on that one. I don't know. So we're gonna go to pick 13 here, the Dolphins. It's back to you, Tommy, and it's you went with Jihad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. And in the text, Andy had a lot of trash talk to say about this one. You know,
I just
Not
no,
heard
no, he didn't. He didn't. I'm busting it.
and so
He
he made
just
me make sure
yeah,
I did all my research of
yeah.
why I brought it to the table. So bear with me
He
while I
wanted to
read
hear
this
it. He
off.
wanted to hear what you had to say about it. That's all.
To me, and we talked about it a little bit pregame. When you think of inside linebackers, there's one. There's only one. And I know last year Miami picked up Chop Robinson. So they need somebody on the inside to anchor that defense, make those play calls. And with Campbell, listen, this dude, he's got side to sideline speed. He's got rare range for a linebacker, explosive acceleration. He's versatile. He can flex out to the will and sub packages, process as well, especially in coverage. Reads keys quickly and rarely bites on misdirection. As a linebacker, Mike, you understand how important it is to be able to read your keys. Strong from the tackler with the pop. My man brings it with the hips. He's great. Loves contact, finishes with authority. Arguably his best trait, drops him smoothly into zone. Mirrors well in man and understands leverage. He's got a modern linebacker build. The Dolphins, they need a rangy athletic linebacker who can clean up behind that aggressive front. And you think about all the playmakers in the AFC, Travis Kelce, Breece Hall, James Cook, and now with the Jets picking up Tyler Warren, they need a linebacker that's going to be able to flex out there and cover some guys as well. Comparison, I got him Fred Warner like. He's twitchy,
Wow.
rangy, instinctive, and a modern coverage first linebacker with a very, very high side. Bottom line, Campbell gives the Dolphins a true modern linebacker, fast, fluid, and versatile enough to play all 3 downs. Brings the coverage juice, open field speed, fits the athletic identity Miami's defense thrives on. With refinement, he could become the heartbeat of that second level for years.
Tom, before we get into what you just said, I think the most impressive thing is how well you just read that from your paper.
Read it fast. Yeah,
That was unbelievable, dude.
Speech 101, baby. I took it. That's right.
I'm gonna
Good
need,
job.
but for me personally, I'm gonna need a little more information on this guy. I'm kidding. Joking.
Let me go ahead and repeat.
All right. No, yeah. I mean, I have nothing to say. Andy, did that
Yeah,
satisfy you?
if you think he's Fred Warner-esque, then
He thinks he's a Hall of Famer, is what
you
he
take
just
him
said.
13, you take him. I would take Fred Warner. If you guaranteed me Fred Warner, I take him number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
I was debating between Fred Warner and Roquan Smith. He's that type of a linebacker where he is sideline to sideline. You can't believe that dude covers that much ground as he does because you watch the tape and that dude flies around and he doesn't slow down when it's time to make that tackle. He runs through the ball carrier.
Huh? That's good.
All
That's
right.
beautiful. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah. He did his homework, that's for sure. Okay. Pick 14, Colts. They went with Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. So second tight end off the board in the top 14 picks. That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
Talk about it.
if you think Tom did a lot of research on
Yeah, let's hear
Campbell,
this. Let's
wait
hear
until
this,
you
Mike.
hear this. Colston Loveland, that dude is good.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
That's incredible.
No, but he
That
is. We
does it
already
for me.
said it. He's the Brock Bowers, right? Is his comp, right? He's gonna line up in the slot. He's not just gonna play tight end, and that's exactly what they need. They have Michael Pittman, they have Josh Downs. They need that slot slash tight end type player to help Jonathan Taylor and whoever is the quarterback, whether it's Anthony Richardson, then after week 3, it might be Daniel Jones. But when you're that bad of a quarterback, you need that reliable person in the middle of the field to just be a check down.
I think 100% right, Mikey. That is, and in my mind, he's a better tight end. Once again, my personal opinion.
Then
This
Tyler
We'll
guy's
see
Warren.
how this ages.
This
We'll
guy's
see how
everywhere.
this ages.
He's a better
We'll check it out in a
receiver.
year.
He's a
I
better
like him a little
receiver.
bit better. Yeah, as a receiving tight end, he is definitely better. And that's what they need.
Okay. All right, let's get to
So,
pick 15 here.
We
Go
got
ahead.
we got
Mike.
Jalen Walker above Abdul Carter. We got Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren, and
Last
we
time I
have
checked, this is
Jihad
America and it's
Campbell's Fred
free.
Warner.
Okay.
This is-
So I'm allowed to have these opinions.
This is good.
I mean, will any of us be shocked if he's right about those two things, though? I don't think I would.
I will be shocked if Jihad Campbell is like not
No,
even
w-
Fred Warner. If he's consistently like a Pro Bowl linebacker, I'd be
Oh, okay.
shocked.
All right.
One
Is he a
thing I love
starter?
about
Yes.
the internet is
But
we'll be able to check this in a couple of years.
I
We will
agree.
be able to.
And,
We
and
will.
when
what?
we check it, I expect a round of golf on you, sir.
Sure.
This will
And
live
if
forever
you're
on
right,
YouTube.
I will then.
Listen,
Listen.
I hope he stinks and the Dolphins draft him. That's what I hope.
Of course you do. you
I hope whoever the
Bills guy.
Dolphins draft stink though. It's
I'm
nothing
with you.
against
I'm with you
Jihad.
on that, Andy. We can get on board with that together.
It's nothing to do with him.
Well, all right, let's go to pick 15, the Falcons. They went with Mike Green, edge, Marshall. So talk about that.
Yeah, he's the best edge rusher in this draft. The dude had 17 sacks last season.
Wow.
In Marshall. I mean, granted, it's Marshall. He wasn't playing elite, but 17 sacks. Now, if you're looking for a run stopper, Mike Green's not your dude, but he can get at the quarterback. He's quick. He's explosive. And that's exactly what the Falcons did. Name their DNs right now because I can't. It's what they need. And I think
Chris
if Mike
Judon.
Green's available at 15, there's no way they
Matthew
pass him up.
Judon.
Matthew Judon. Did you say he's
I
the
don't even
best
know if
edge
he's
rusher
still
on the? So you're now he's better. He's a better
No,
edge rusher.
no, no,
than
no,
Bill
no,
Off
just
the
Parker?
edge. He's saying off the edge.
Off-
Yeah,
just straight
one
edge
pass
rusher.
rush. Yeah, one move
Yeah,
got
just-
you.
That's
Third
it.
and long,
Exactly.
ears pinned back. He's coming to get you.
Correct.
I want to say Matthew Judon's a free agent, but I could be wrong.
I don't think he's on the. I don't. I looked.
was
up
last
his-
year. He
their
signed
DNs.
last year.
He got traded there from the Patriots last year. Yeah.
I don't know. If he is there, then obviously that's one. But they need another one.
Yeah.
I think Mike Green's a great pick, Mike, but a lot of character issues was what they say. So I was kind of hoping he would go to a team like Detroit, where he has the leadership of Dan Campbell and Aiden Hutchinson trying to help.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say because he's in the Bears division over there in Detroit.
No,
you want that
like,
problem
I
child.
want the
in your
best for
division.
this kid.
Yeah.
I want him to, because Mike's right. Like, it's not very good competition, but that dude dominated, and that's what you're supposed to do against non-competition if you're elite, is to dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think he's got 2 sexual assault cases against him right now. So
Like I said,
think
character
I think
issues, character
I think he's
issues.
going down. And then you put him in. I mean, you put him in a 3-4, and now he's going to outside linebacker with Atlanta.
Can he stand up?
It's a little bit different.
He can
But
stand up.
yeah, we'll find if he goes there. We'll find out for sure.
All right, let's get to pick 16. The Cardinals.
I mean, once again, I don't take anything really sexy here, guys, because you guys just keep letting these. Every board I go to, Shamar Stewart, edge from Texas A&M, is
Yep.
the prototype of an edge. He's 6'5", 270. His RAS score is a perfect 10, the relative athletic score.
Wow.
They compare everybody all time. I think he is the literal number 1 edge since they started tracking these things in like 1987.
Yeah, how many
on
10s
the
has there
athletic
ever
score.
been? You don't hear
Probably like, I think it's like 5
Yeah.
for edges.
Wow.
That is.
Okay.
And he's number 1. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. you take that guy and you hope you can develop him.
So is
Everything
that
I
what
ever
it is?
read,
Is he young? Is he
he's like 21, I think.
okay.
So I went between him and Michael Williams here because they're both absolute freak prototype rushers. Michael has a little bit more production in his college life because you can't have any less than Shamar Stewart. The dude has 1.5 sacks as a freshman, 1.5 sacks as a sophomore,
Okay.
1.5 sacks as a junior.
Okay. So that's what
Come
I
on,
was going to
man.
ask. Why is he so much lower than not so much lower, but why is he lower than Abdul Carter if his athletic score
That's
is
it.
that
That
high?
he
Okay.
just he
So
has all the
production's
physical
not there.
traits. Yeah, he has
Okay.
all the physical
Mhm.
traits. The production's not there. Um,
Is it
and I
between the
know that
years?
I know that the Cardinals have spent some money. I think they signed who was it? Montez Sweat or somebody or Josh Sweat. They signed Josh Sweat and
Joshua, yeah.
Calais Campbell just so he could retire there. I think more than anything, but they signed Josh Sweat to a pretty good contract. They spent some money on the D line. Are they going to go defensive line again? I don't know, but this is just value. If you can get the biggest freak in the history of freaks at this new premium position at pick 16, you got to roll the dice on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to hope you have the coaches there to coach him up then,
Well,
obviously,
I mean,
too.
they have Gannon, right? And whoever Nick Rollis or whatever the DC is that he brought with him from
I'm
Philly. But we saw what Philly just
I'm
did
impressed
to
that you
Kansas
even
City
could
in the
rattle
Super
those
Bowl.
off just now. So that's good.
Listen, when I
I
watched the
think
film of them all, sorry, Mike, if you don't mind, real quick.
no, go right ahead.
Um, Shamar Stewart had the best get off. His off the ball snap is the best out of all of them. He gets off the ball faster than anybody.
So
Like you said, just needs a little bit better
I was
finishing.
gonna say, so you say that, right? So he's getting off the ball so fast, but something is happening in
Watch it.
between there and getting to the quarterback. There's
Watch
something.
the film. Just pull up his highlights, and you will see that ball is snapped, and that
I'm not
man is
saying you're
off the
wrong.
ball
No, I'm not saying you're
faster
wrong.
than anybody. And
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
said, I don't know why it's not translating into more.
yeah.
What moves he's got to do finishing it, but
And
his
he's
off the
got the
ball
size and
step is
everything.
unreal.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
6'5", 270. The
Wow,
thing I hear
big
about
boy.
edges, because I'm not, and I always say when we talk about football, when it comes to offense or defensive line, I go to Tommy first. He just knows the trenches better than I do. But the thing that I always read about edges is it's almost like you don't want a technician coming out of college. Like you don't want a guy that's good at has all these moves, has a deep bag. Like you don't want that guy because now he has to learn which one of those moves is gonna work and is it gonna work. You want these
Well, you want raw
prototype
then.
guys
Yeah,
that are
sometimes you
just
want raw.
big, strong, and fast because
Yeah,
you need speed or you need power. And if you have both, you're a problem. And like these
and you
raw
can't
dudes, they
teach that.
have it right.
Can't teach
So
that stuff.
hopefully they
Yeah.
just figure it
Right.
out.
Yep. Agreed. All right. I don't know if this guy has any of that stuff. But at pick 17, the Bengals went James Pierce Jr., Edge, Tennessee. What I knew is that, from my draft board that I was looking at, he was a higher prospect. Everyone knows the Bengals need help on defense. They need help everywhere on defense. I think they didn't make the playoffs last year, and they were like, well, they were if they weren't the best offense, they were top 3 or 4, and
Yeah,
they
I
didn't
think
even
they
make
were.
and they didn't even make the freaking playoffs. So that defense was historically bad last year. They need help. I need help. Someone tell me how good just James Pierce Jr. guy is.
He's
I will
another
tell
guy
you,
that's got character problems,
that's it.
Does
you
he?
know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And to be quite honest, he doesn't have a really good reach. His 4.47 though, that's pretty fucking good for six
That's
five.
fast for yeah. Well,
Coming into the season, he was the edge. Like
Number one.
that was the
Yep.
guy everybody was
he had a
watching.
down year, or is it
He was
character?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little
Okay.
down, and then Tennessee had a whole entire thing where players were looking for more money going into the playoffs because their NIL deals were only for the regular season.
That crap's getting ugly now in
And yeah,
college.
that's why their quarterback doesn't have a home right now.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
James Pierce was a part of it. It comes down to his isn't. I don't think he has like cases against him like Mike Green, but I think his is. Does he want to play football? Yeah,
Locker room issue, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think he said he doesn't watch football, right? He just plays it because he's good at it. And when you get to the NFL, sometimes that's just not good enough.
I think your boy
You
Ted
have to
McMillan
watch
said
the
that
game.
too.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, maybe it was Ted that said that. Maybe I'm getting confused. What I was going to say last time before we move on is if you look at picks 9 through 17 right now, with the exception of Membo, I think he's locked in at a top 10-ish pick. Every single one of these players, if I told you they went 9 or 30, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's how crazy this
Jalen
draft
Walker
is.
too, you think?
Jalen Walker could, maybe not, but he is a overall prospect where if somebody's scared that they just don't know where to put him, but maybe he's the exception there too.
All right. I was gonna say, not loving football, is that a Hawaiian thing? Because what's his face out in Puka was saying he wants to retire by 30,
Retire at 30. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that would scare me a little bit if I was the GM there. Okay.
You just sign him to a contract until he turns 30 and you
Yeah,
figure
and
it out
then
from there.
all right, yeah, go ahead.
We're not going past that day.
Because he's a stud, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude can play. All right. Pick 18, the Seahawks went Kelvin Banks Jr., OT, Texas.
You guys, I just don't have I have no sexy picks. But Kelvin Banks, I know, he's not huge or he is big, but he has short arms. And is he a right tackle? Is he a left tackle? Bottom line is the Seahawks probably they got Charles Cross at left tackle. They don't really need one. Like he's been pretty good. They drafted him a couple of years ago. If you have Kelvin Banks fall to you here at 18, and you once again bookends Mike McDonald. I always call him Mike McDaniel. Mike McDonald is an old school kind of guy. I know he's young, but he wants defense and run game. Clint Kubiak, same thing. Run offense. They want to just control the ball. They want to control the clock. They want to just, they're going to keep it in the mud if they can. So I think Calvin Banks is best player available for them at a position that is, it fits a need.
All right. Yeah, he's a high prospect. I mean, for him to go 18, that might even be a slip for him in the draft. I don't know. Because they were, again, around here in New England, they were talking about him, Will Campbell, like early on. But I think Will Campbell is kind of taken.
Dude's a giant.
He's a front
Dude's
runner
an
around there.
absolute giant. Got an 84 and 3/8 reach. And you talk about
No shit.
like a man eater. That's what that dude is. Yeah. I think he'd be a
He's
great
a big
fit in
boy.
Seattle.
All right.
I think he'd be a great fit anywhere.
Yeah, it's a pretty good. I have here for why the pick doesn't make sense. I just have Matthew Golden. That's the only thing it says. Matthew Golden. So
Spot hockey pack.
maybe they want to go JSN and Golden in the slot or whatever you want to do. Flip them and get a little bit more pass happy, but give Darnold somebody to work with. But I think the old school mentality out there, they'd rather go line than wide receiver.
All right. Pick 19 here. We're going to the Buccaneers. They went with Jade Barron, cornerback, Texas. And this is the boy that you were talking about earlier, Mike, right? This is the kid
Yeah.
that you were saying that you like him the best at corner.
Yeah, I think I do. He's just more all around.
Okay.
He's shorter. I think what's Johnson 6'2", Barron's 5'11", I want to say. But he's quicker and he's better against the man coverage. You don't have to line up in zone. And plus in this mock, Will Johnson's already gone, and for Barron to fall 19 to the Bucks, I think they need secondary help in general, and they'll take Barron, they'll take Starks, whoever's available for secondary help. That's the route they're going most likely.
All right. Anyone have
I
anything
can
to
Speed
say
it
about
up.
that?
I think it's a great pick. Yeah.
I do
Keep it
too.
moving then. All right. Pick 20. We had a trade.
We did
So Titans moved up. I don't know exactly where'd they move up from. Can you guys?
35.
35?
trade was.
Yeah.
Titans came up from 35 to Denver, who was 20. I got pick 35, pick 103, and I got next year's third. When Mike's done, I'll tell you Denver's thought process.
All right. So Titans, they ended up going Matthew Golden with that trade up, wide receiver, Texas.
Yeah, this was my favorite. This is my most fun electric pick of the draft. I got the Titans who picked Cam Ward already. They need help. They have Calvin Ridley, who kind of disappointed last year. They have Treylon Burks, who they thought was going to be AJ Brown's replacement. He hasn't been AJ Brown's replacement. So go get you somebody with some speed. Matthew Golden ran a 4.29. I want to say second 40 in the draft. That's somebody they need, a burner. Even though Ward doesn't have the arm to get it, 60, 70 yards downfield, he can still burn somebody off the field, off the line, or across the line of scrimmage.
You got him a toy to play with, from the
Yeah.
get-go. So that's what you want. You want to help out your young quarterback. And you did that with
Blazer,
that
dude.
pick.
Dude's a blazer.
Nobody
4.29 is unreal.
helped their stock more during the season, I don't think, than Matthew Golden. Just Texas is on all the time, right? They're a top 4 team all year. And just like throughout the year, every game you watched, Golden he was better, just making big plays, going up and getting the ball, even though he's a little bit undersized. He's out jumping dudes, he's burning dudes. sure-handed. It was an incredible run to watch. And then, you top it off with that 4.29. Dude went from probably maybe even a late day two pick to
Yeah. Wasn't
probably the
it
best wide receiver in the draft.
him and Isaiah Bond? It's like who's going to be picked sooner? And then this year, Golden was just like, nah, it's me, dude. Like, it's
Shoo!
100% me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like maybe through like even the first half of October, that was probably still
Hmm.
Yeah.
a real serious debate.
All right, let's go to pick 21 here. And it was the Steelers that were on the clock, and they went Josh Simmons, OT, Ohio State. I probably could have gone Jackson Dart here. They do need a
That would have been fun.
quarterback. What's that?
It would have been fun.
It would have been more fun if I went there. I went boring with the offensive tackle because whoever they're going to get a quarterback, they're going to need to block for him. They're going to need to keep him safe. Again, I don't know much about Josh Simmons other than what I looked at. He was a high prospect. So, um, go ahead.
I
If
think
someone,
it's I think it's Tommy. I From what I've read about him, I think he was the oh yeah, we frozen now. I thought he
no,
was the
no, no,
rest.
no.
Everybody just
Mike
stopped moving at
froze.
the same
Mike
time,
froze.
dude.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. I think I
yeah.
read that he's the most like physically gifted left tackle. I think I've read that he's the best prospect at left tackle. Just that another guy, does he want to play football? Is he kind of a dick?
Okay, okay. So he's got
So
character issues. Okay.
yeah.
He's also got some past injury issues too that he's recovering from. I think he is out of all of the top offensive linemen, he is the most mauler, like kind of that Quentin Nelson mentality where he's here to punish
That
you
sounds like
between the
Steelers to me.
whistles.
That's what
But
sounds like Steelers.
at the end of the day, he's gonna pack up, grab his stuff, and just leave. He's not hanging out. He's not,
That also sounds like Steelers to me. So
so
both things are correct.
as Joe's a Steelers fan, Brandon, my buddy's a Steelers fan. I think they're probably going to go quarterback there
You
instead.
think they'll
But
go Jackson Dart? Yeah. They like
yeah,
him?
just
Okay.
because I mean I love Mike Tomlin, but he's only got so much, and he's got to pick a playmaker in the first round. I mean, somebody to distribute also. So I don't know. That's what I love about the draft is it can go so many different ways.
All right. Let's move on to pick 22 here. The Chargers. They went Michael Williams, Edge, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump back to pick 20 here because I said I go back to it. The whole thought
By
process
Denver,
there by Denver moving back, the way this draft was going, I just felt like Omari and Hampton is going to be there in the beginning of the second round. I feel like that's a very good Alvin Kamara comp, and I feel like with Sean Payton, kind of found his Drew Brees part two in Bo Nix last year. He looked like really
Yeah.
good. I think that's both of the tight ends are gone. I think if the tight ends were there, maybe we go for that. But both of them gone. Amari and Hampton, Alvin Kamara. I think that's great. Anyway, back on to Michael. It's the same thing with Shamar Stewart. His production was a little bit better than Shamar's. But I mean, these dudes they're not even human. They're not built, they're built in labs, dude. 6'5", 260, can just he can do everything. He's just a raw prospect. I think he had 7 or 7.5 sacks or 6 sacks, whatever it was last year. So he's got a little bit more production under his belt. The Chargers, I mean, they lost Bosa to the Bills, but they lost Bosa. Khalil Mack and Bud Dupree are fucking our age. Like they got to be done soon.
right?
They need some help there on the edge. It's more of as I said earlier, it's more of you guys just. I think this is a high prospect. I don't think he really is gonna get to 22. I don't think he's really gonna get past like 15 or 16.
Oh,
But
really?
he's here at
Okay.
22, and I think that this is just too good of an option for them to pass up when it really might not be a direct need.
All right. I like it. So let's keep this thing moving. Pick 23, Green Bay. They went Walter Nolan, DT at Ole Miss. And again, guys, I don't know anything about this guy. I know he's a big dude. I know they need that. I know that's a need for them is DT. So I went that route. If anyone knows anything about him, fire away.
He was one of the top prospects coming out of high school. Absolute freak of nature. As a Bears fan, that would be my least favorite pick that the Packers get. They could get
You said that.
anybody
You
else,
said that in the
but
text. Yeah.
if they get a dominant defensive tackle, then their defense is going to be something scary, unfortunately. So
Walter
I
Nolan.
hate the pick, but love the
But
athlete.
love it. Yeah, at the same time. Okay.
Walter Nolan's one of those guys that he could sneaky end up being like a top 10 pick where he has that potential where it all depends how much people love him, but there's some GMs out there that are just think he's one of the best prospects in this draft.
So is it
He could just
is there a reason then that he's sliding back?
he's
Or
another guy that they don't know like
they don't know.
if he's gonna try. You don't know
Yeah.
if you're gonna get complete effort from him
Wow.
half the
So is
time.
that this generation, huh?
Could
Is
be.
that
It
what's
could
going
be.
It
on?
might
They
be.
gotta go
Yeah,
make
it's a
some
generational
TikToks or
thing.
something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean he can pass rush and run stop from the interior. Like he's a crazy athlete too. Like there's nothing he can't do in the middle. So
Okay.
top 10.
All
Why
right.
not?
All right. Let's get to pick to 24. Pick 24. There was another trade. Um,
Bastards.
Washington traded that pick with Minnesota. Minnesota moved back to 29, and Washington gave Minnesota their pick 128 in this draft, a third and a fifth next year. And with this pick, Washington picked Malachi Starks, safety, Georgia.
Yeah, I had to move up ahead of Minnesota because Minnesota needs a safety so bad. So I had to get the best safety in the draft, all the way
Didn't he
down
trade with
here in the
Minnesota?
20s.
He did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
Minnesota didn't give a shit.
correct. Yeah.
Minnesota didn't. No. I'll
But
You
speak
think
for
you
talk
had to get
Minnesota.
about,
ahead of them if they were like, yeah, go ahead, take them. Like,
You're
gonna
I'll
take the
trade
guy
back.
we
I
need?
wasn't telling
Come
him
on
what I
in.
was picking, you know? But that's a 3-year impact player at Georgia. National championship defense, high character, proven leader. He's played in high pressure environments. So occasionally he does over pursue. Speed can work against him, but he does fly downhill. My NFL comparison, I got him a mix of Minka Fitzpatrick with a splash of Antoine Winfield Jr. Versatile, explosive, instinctive with elite range and fearless approach.
He is
Okay.
the exact opposite of all what we've just been talking about with all these other guys. Like he's
Correct.
not the
He
most
wants
physically gifted.
ball.
But he wants
Yeah.
to play
He's not the
football.
most physically gifted, but he would play football all day long if he could. And that's the kind of guy I want on my team. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Dan Campbell, he needs a guy like that on his defense. Or not Dan Campbell. Dan Quinn. Sorry.
All right. Pick 25. Texans went Gray Zabel.
Zabel, I think.
Zabel, yeah.
Zabel.
Zabel.
Yeah.
Gray
North Dakota
Zabel.
State.
Offensive guard, North Dakota State.
Yeah, I wanted to trade down here. I actually, when the Chargers were on the clock, sent out a text to you guys saying, "Hey, Texans want to trade down if anybody's interested." Commanders instantly text me, "Hey, we're interested. We'll make a deal." And then right before we make a deal, I find out that he fucking traded for the pick before me with the Vikings. So,
First of
Tom's
all,
a-
I said
a
I had to
rat.
see what we had
Yeah.
for offers, and we
Tom's a
got
rat.
better offers.
But we wanted to trade down to get Zabel a little later because this was the guy we wanted, but we didn't think anybody else was going to draft him. But when you look at the Texans' offensive line, they need tackle guard, tackle guard, center. It doesn't matter. So get the guy that can potentially play all three, and you're gonna find a starter in Zabel. It's just where is he going to play? We don't know yet.
All right. I think what Tommy did, I'm sure a lot of that happens in the real NFL, in the war rooms, I'm sure. All right. Pick 26. There was another trade. LA traded back, correct, with the Bills.
Yep.
And what are the details of that trade?
Tommy, I didn't write these down. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I traded with Los Angeles. We swapped first picks, and then you got pick 109 and 27. I received your first pick and pick 132.
Okay.
Okay.
So at 26, the Bills selected Kenneth Grant, DT Michigan.
Listen, I know everybody's real high on the other Michigan guy, Mason Graham, and the kid from Michigan or Ole Miss. But when I watched the film going through these defensive tackle, the one I fell in love with was Kenneth Grant. The way he moves, the way he gets after it. That's a big dude whose hustle is non-stop. I want to shout out to Mason and Luke. We pulled up the film where he hawked down a running back. I think Penn State. A defensive tackle pursuit angle, hawk down a running back. We talk about effort, right? And talk about guys who love ball. That's my guy. That's my guy.
If we're being honest here,
Which we are. Let's be honest.
if this was any other team besides the Bills trying to come up, I don't know if I would have, especially with the Rams who maybe need an interior lineman. But Tom came to me from the Bills, said he was looking to move up. Immediately knew. I was like, maybe we could work something out. But yeah, as a Bills fan, yeah, it'd be great. I mean, cornerback, interior defensive line, like a one fucking technique though, like Kenneth Grant is, like
Right.
a big boy that's just gonna stuff the middle is exactly what they need. They need wide receiver help too, but it's corner or DT for me, or like Starks slides to 30, something like that. I would love that.
All right, let's get this thing moving here. I got the next three picks. I'm going to
Oh my God.
apologize in advance for Ravens, Lions, and Minnesota fans for the fact that I picked him, but also we're going to go quick. If you guys have anything to say about these guys, fire away though. But this is a long episode, so if we have anyone left at this point, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us. All right. So at 27, the Ravens picked Derek Harmon, DT, Oregon. And they
Another
picked that
dog.
because they needed it and because Kenneth Grant wasn't there. So,
Solid reasoning.
Yep.
Solid reasoning. Well, I'm glad I moved up.
and then if you guys have anything to say about it, interrupt me and talk about them.
Nah, you can keep going.
Yeah,
Okay.
fire away.
All right. At 28, the Lions went Nick Scourton. They had a hard time with that one. They kept on getting the name wrong, but eventually they got it out there in the third try.
Who was it? They tried picking Mike
Shamar
Green
Stewart.
and
No,
James Pierce or something like that.
There was a lot of dysfunction going on, and they finally got there though. So
They got
they
there.
went
They got
they
there.
went they went edge Texas A&M. At 29, the Vikings went Maxwell Hairston. That was with the trade that they had made with Washington to move back to 29, cornerback out of Kentucky, and they need some help in that secondary. So I
That
feel like
dude's
he's
a
gonna help
burner.
out.
Yeah, so he's very fast. I've read a lot of bills being linked to him. I'm hoping not at pick 30, but they got two second rounders. Maybe they package those, move up. I don't know. But pick 30 seems a little high from where I've seen his actual draft stock.
Okay.
So
All right.
4.28 though. Speed
Yeah.
always wins. Speed always goes higher in a draft to make
Right.
Speed
it just
does.
improves
Yeah.
your value.
Yeah. Especially if Al Davis is drafted.
I was gonna say thanks to Al Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Pick 30 was
Say it.
LA. LA is picking here. That was the trade
Guy
they.
Doug.
Say
What?
it. Say the guy.
Say his
Who are
name.
they picking?
Oh, I'm not. I just saw that. I'm not saying his name.
Come on.
Donovan Zaraoku. Zaraoku? That sounds pretty good.
That was not
Sure.
terrible.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
I think it's
Edge out of Boston College. Talk about him.
Azaruka. Donovan
Azaruka.
Azaruka.
All right.
Yeah. Once again, he's just high on all of the draft experts' boards. I've read he's pretty much the exact opposite of Shamar, Michael, where they're like, the prototype super freaks. This dude's a little bit more Trent Cole-esque, where he's undersized and he's going to have to kind of figure it out. It's going to take a couple years for him to figure it out, is what I keep reading. And he's really not a great fit with the Rams because they killed their draft last year. They got Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner, who were both great. They
Yeah.
run a 3-4. He's he's more edge than he is outside linebacker. But this is just another kind of need and best prospect. I think you could probably put Braden Fisk inside. He's an athlete, short arms, but you could probably play him at your tackle there, defensive tackle in your 3-4, and then maybe run Kobe Turner on one side and Azaruka on the other. I think that'd be a pretty formidable line
30.
going forward. Yeah, it's pick 30.
If he's there at 30, I don't think the Rams are passing this up. He's too good of a prospect, and Sean McVay, if there's anybody that can coach any position, it's Sean McVay.
All right. Pick 31 here. The Chiefs.
Going
They
off
went. What's that?
Go ahead.
The Chiefs went Josh Connerly Jr., OT, Oregon.
Yeah. Well, Mike just said if there's anybody that can coach anybody, I'm going to say it's Andy Reid. Andy Reid,
Yeah.
offensive lineman. We
Yeah.
saw how bad they got their asses just chewed up by Philly in the Super Bowl. You got to protect the most profitable asset, the best asset in the league in Patrick Mahomes. You got to protect him. You give him time. With Andy Reid and Mahomes, you can win any game. That's just the bottom line. I've seen it too many times. So go get him. The dude that, once again, the pro comp I read was Paris Johnson Jr. Stick him at, left tackle, right tackle. I would imagine left tackle is their biggest need. Stick him there. Let Andy Reid coach him up. Let them do what they do. I'm sure he'll be just fine.
Yeah, they had a guard at left tackle in the Super Bowl. Joe Tooney, who is a career left guard, and they threw him in at left tackle, which was an interesting move.
Not
For the
the right
Super
one,
Bowl.
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah. but he's not even there anymore. They traded him away.
No,
So
he's not. Thank you very much.
yeah, went to the Bears. All right, last pick, Mr. Irrelevant in our draft of round 1 of the NFL, and it's Mikey's favorite team here. We're going to go with the Eagles at 32, and it was Tyler Booker, OG, Alabama.
I made this pick knowing the actual GM for the Philadelphia Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised if he trades back and gets more picks or moves up
Or moves
and,
up, yeah.
and
Moves up.
gets something spectacular. But if he does stay there and Booker's still available, Philadelphia is an O-line pipeline, dude, and he fits their culture, fits the mold. Tough, smart, nasty, versatile, run first identity in Philadelphia, keeps dominating those trenches, and he'll add to an already elite unit. Not a sexy pick, but no offensive line pick is really sexy, but it's some of the most important picks there are. So I think that would just continue to make people want to ban the tush push when they add a guy like that.
Yeah, we see it every year. I mean, the Super Bowl, it was the lines. It was all about the
Right.
lines. It was about the D line and the
100%.
O line. So,
100%.
Mike, what do you think of the pick?
Yeah, it's not a sexy pick. It's a guard. They lost Mekhi Becton, so it is a semi need. Now, granted, they have young talent. I don't want to say the word talent because I don't really know, but they have a guy with the last name Keegan, and they have Kennard, who they drafted pretty high to plug in at guard, and they have the best offensive lineman coach in the league. So. I'm not sure if this is where they're going to go. It depends on what they think of him. But if I'm the Eagles here, I think I'm going safety. Xavier Watts is available from Notre Dame. I really like him, and he fits that Eagles offense. So I think I'd like to see them go safety, but most likely they're going to trade back.
All right, guys. Well, for one thing, I think Tommy kind of missed where he should have done in life. I think he probably should have been a scout.
Well, he's a coach. He's a coach.
He is a coach. He is a coach. He's a coach, but maybe he should have been a scout because that man
There's
likes
still
to get
time,
down
buddy.
deep into it. It is.
There's still
I
time.
love it.
There is. Absolutely is. That was fun, boys. You guys know your stuff. I'll give you that when it comes to the NFL draft. So
So look at this draft. We just did 2 quarterbacks, 2 receivers, and 1 running back. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the skilled,
Yeah.
like premium offensive
Yeah.
players. I mean, 2 tight ends, but everything else was offensive line or defense, and a lot of defensive line. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if there's more defensive line actually taken on Thursday than we just took.
do you think that's recency bias too? Just because of what we saw in the Super Bowl? Like, I feel like it is a little bit. It's just human nature.
Yeah, D line in general is
edges.
just becoming more and more important. Even
It
D
is.
tackle,
It's a-
dude, it's becoming an elite
It's a premium
position.
position. Yeah.
It's a premium, yeah. But if you would have started this episode and said, "Hey, listen to this mock draft. There's going to be 2 quarterbacks and 2 wide receivers taken," the 3 listeners that are here, they would have left.
They would have
a long
already
time
left.
ago.
I'm not watching any of this.
Holy shit.
Not watching that boring shit. What do these guys know? Yeah, that was good. All right, that was fun, boys. So next week, though, and I don't even think we've said this to Andy or Tommy yet.
No.
So if we don't do it, cut this from the end. But if we do it, I think we're doing it. We're gonna do a way too early fantasy football draft next week.
Okay.
We're all football. We're all footballed out right now. We're definitely gonna be after Thursday. So I think it'll be fun to kind of see. All right, these are the pieces that these teams have now. Let's see what they're gonna do in fantasy football.
Love it.
Interesting. Interesting.
All right, fellas. Well, that was fun. Thanks for bringing it. You guys all brought it. So for Mike, Tommy, Andy, I'm Doug. We'll see you guys next time. Later.
See ya.
Peace.